Hey there, everyone. How's it going? It's very late on a Tuesday night on the West Coast. It's actually early on Wednesday morning on the East Coast, August 31st, 2022. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about week one. It's rare that I spend like what felt like 3 or 4 hours on one thing in Excel file, but I did do that tonight off and on, just updating players and depth charts. So I went through every single depth chart as set up on RotoWire and tried to match up all of the teams. So I'd be like, looking at the Thursday night game, for example, you have Buffalo and the Rams, I believe. Okay. So I went through every single player that is on in these positions of quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver, and kicker and aligned it with what RotoWire's depth charts said, as well as I also had people in here that RotoWire didn't have that are still on the roster and on the team, and I believe are just further down the depth chart, and I believe are still on the roster. So what we have done here now, when we open up everything for a second, is I want to show you kind of how to use this file. So um, it's going to be sort of a longer video discussing how to use it. But before I get to all that, I'll just say if you want to buy a copy of this file, I'm selling week one and week two for $50. And you can then start to watch the videos, get a copy of the file, and try to update all the different sheets with a subscription to RotoWire, which is not that expensive. And you'll be able to update this and follow along as I do it and try to update it yourself because there's a lot of work you can put into it. If you don't want to put the work into it and you just want to get the updated emails from me every week as I do this and ahead of the videos normally through an email, then you can subscribe to the season subscription. It's $300 for the season, which is like between 10 and $20 a week. And it's a lot of work, as you'll see. So you've got options there. Now, I spent like 3 or 4 hours today just getting everybody straightened out. I also applied percentages to rookies. I just gave them straight percentages, which might be overestimating some of them, but a lot of them are injured as well. So I did something with them because you have to put them in there. They're playing. We need to give them some type of contribution, even though we have no idea what kind of contribution these rookies are potentially gonna give. So all that being said, you've got a breakdown here in this projection pivot sheet of all the players and all the teams. You do not want to include people that are definitely not playing. Okay, so let's start with the people that are playing. Anybody with an injury status of 0 means they're healthy and supposed to be playing. Doubtfuls you could leave out, I guess. IRs every out. There's NFL's pups out, whatever. Questionables is where I start including them. So you hold down the control key and highlight with the mouse. You highlight everything with the questionable in front of it. And that brings in your non-injured players and your questionables. Okay, it's really a lot, a big, huge list. There's a lot of different things in here. You can change the way these slicers look so that you can do it like this and shrink it a little bit, make it easier to use. Okay, so that's our injury setup. So we've got this thing aligned properly where it should be measuring the totals of the teams properly. Well, we can now go into our pick sheet. And the reason why nothing is showing right now, I'm going to refresh, but the reason why nothing is showing is because I have the magnifier set at 0. Now, the magnifier is an interesting thing here. The magnifier is magnifying, meaning it's actually like making something be larger by looking by looking at it or putting a higher number here. It's kind of measuring sort of the number of scoring drives in the game, sort of, kind of, but not really. It's a complicated way to put it. Point is this number at the beginning of the year is complicated, but towards the end of the year, or whatever, it's somewhere around 4 or 5. We're going to try like 4.5 to start off. And if we put a magnifier here and we refresh this pivot table, we're going to get all our projections for week one. And I've done a lot of back work to try to get this as accurate as possible and have all these things here. But we're going to go into what this is showing and why it is showing it. And we'll talk about the Thursday night game. And we'll also talk about this game on top just to dig into a couple things. So Thursday night's game, it says Buffalo 22-21 over the Rams. So the magnifier notice will change the score of this game if you have the magnifier to 5. Now all of a sudden it's a 25-23 game. So it's kind of like you can think about the magnifier being a little different depending on the weather conditions at certain games. You know, if you've got bad weather and wind or whatever and snow, it's going to be a low scoring game. You bring that thing down to like this because you'll find that the range of victory is changing slightly with how the magnifier is calculated. All right. So point is it's a very close game. So and this is very, very tough here. Very, very tough game to pick. So I almost would say it's too close. It doesn't know what's going to happen. The over under is set at 51 and it says 43. So it's predicting a low scoring game that you think, well, we're using a lot of last year's stats. So that's the other thing. So instead of looking through that game real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this game here at the Arizona Kansas City because all of a sudden we have a plus 160 up here as the top projected scoring game of the week, right? What is happening here, right? Well, let's go look. Let's look at those two teams, Arizona and Kansas City. We've got them both here. Is there anything weird going on? Well, it says Arizona's quarterbacks, you know, Kyler Murray and stuff. You want to compare positions and stuff. Arizona, Mahomes rating is good, but not better than a sum of a bunch of stuff. This is a rookie guy who probably shouldn't get anything on here, actually. So I should probably make him 0. And the same with this guy. These are two rookies that we're giving point one as a contribution. So it's not really in quarterbacks that's the issue. What about running backs? We can look at all of these. Again, by doing this, it says that quarterbacks is Arizona a little bit. Running backs is definitely Arizona. Tight ends is Arizona. Wide receivers definitely Arizona. Kicking's the same. So it's really giving Arizona an offensive powerhouse. You know, I don't know if there's a lot of rookies in here too, so that could be part of it. One thing we can do, which is kind of interesting, is let's go to our all player sheet here for a second where we have all these rookies. Now, in the past years, I had never given any weight at all to rookies ever. Okay. So basically all these numbers here, I didn't do any of that. I actually had nothing for these guys. This. Okay. Now we have the ability by removing their contribution and then going back to the projection pivot and refreshing. All of a sudden things are going to change. As a matter of fact, we're going to get a look at everybody without the rookies. Okay. Well, let's go now look at the projected scores. Is Arizona over Kansas City still on top? Let's find out. They are still on top. So it's not totally rookie related. There's a lot of other reasons apparently why the algorithm really likes Arizona. And so I like doing this video here because all the work that goes into the algorithm is doing something here. And we're going to go back and we're going to put these percentages back in here for these rookies because I like doing this actually. This actually makes somewhat sense as I gave them all standard average, which is okay because they're contributing something to the game and it's good for us to measure that appropriately. Okay. And then once we do that, we go back and refresh the score. Instead of 26-16, it's now 31-20, even more offense. Now these scores are looking a little high given that I see only 119 and 18, and this is the beginning. I've added rookies, so it makes me want to lower the magnifier actually slightly. But you know, I mean, you can start playing with it and figure it out on your own. either way, it says Arizona is the pick of the day at plus 160. Arizona plus 3.5. Excellent round robin or parlay pick. Really, really strong, right? Says that, even if they can't somehow put up points and the Chiefs defense is good, even though this game's in Arizona, a lot of reasons. Um, Even though comparatively last year, the win score percentage that the you can see how the odds makers are aligning their odds with what this win score percentage is, but the point projections are different. And this is because the point projections are a smarter calculation of what's going to happen in this game. And this is the more standard look at teams as a whole historically. And this is why seeing this up here, but this is very interesting. It's saying that these two games are excellent, excellent picks and excellent lines all the way up here. So it is giving a clear direction of what to do in week one. And I assume that will I be able to, yeah, I'll be able to probably wager somewhere. I'll be in some part of the country where you can wager. And I will bet these games because for the algorithm to do this, which is showing a 10-point margin, and let's lower this down to 4. Let's see what the margin of victory is still. 11 and 9, especially as Arizona. I mean, how can Arizona not be the pick of the day according to the algorithm? It says they win by like a touchdown and a field goal. Well, we shall see. All right, but this is basically, we'll go with the 4.25, just right in the middle, because we did add rookie stats, which means we don't have to raise the magnifier all that much. Well, that's the update. And for Thursday night, you see a close game, and it likes, I guess, the under. The magnifier has to be huge to get this game over 51 points, right? Yeah, it's got to be up at magnifier 5 can be reasonable. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, but it's got to be over 5 for this game to hit the over at something like that. Oh, not even 5.5. So the under is the point play according to the algorithm. If you set it right here. But how do you play this really close game? Well, let's say Rams plus 2 because this game is so close. But those games can also be decided by a field goal instead of 1 point, whatever. But it does say Rams on the spread, but it says Bills to win. So that's what it says. And sometimes it's really, really right. So we'll see if it is this week. All right, guys. Good luck, everybody. If you want to purchase copies, go ahead. This will, of course, be updated even before next week when the game starts. And I'll do a private video for those who have subscribed, going over all of these games to determine if all this stuff is clean. Because I noticed as I was editing players that there was some weird stuff and a lot of injuries on weird teams, and it's endless. I can just talk forever. So anyway, good luck. I feel really good about all the effort put into this today because I feel like it's kind of done until the season starts, like 9 days from now, something like that. All right, good luck, everybody. Hey, all your picks. Everybody.